Good morning, YouTube. It is 6:30 in the morning. It's ridiculous. I know. See, it's dark outside. Oh my wow. I am on my way to my local game store, Cape Fear Games, here in North Carolina, because I want to pick up a good strategy game that has a good solo mode. I have some games in mind, but what I want to do is just take a look at their shelves, maybe mini preview, maybe even review some of the games and grab one to take home to feature later. This is, of course, right in the middle of the Awakened Realms series, where I'm doing the Road to Retaliation, and playing through and reviewing every single Awakened Realms game to rank them at the end. So the game that we get today will be played a bit later on, but at least we're kind of seeing some things that maybe you'll enjoy and what's coming on the channel later. I need to get going. Right, and got some games I'm trading in as well. Oh my goodness, too much stuff to take. Lights. Ugh, there we go. Go to the gym after. Oh my wow. Not creepy at all. Ugh. Okay, go get breakfast. Coffee. Oh, well, isn't that awesome? Let's take care of it. It's really get my podcast going. All right, let's get out of here. Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Don't get your honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings. A little bit early, but got in, and looks like a new setup, so we're doing strategy, but let's, I need to see the new layout. Okay, still got miniature. Why is it so noisy outside? It's like something's going on. Okay. Bestsellers. Not really interested in that. Don't care. New arrivals we'll look at later. Expeditions, I want that. That could be if we do area control, maybe. We still got co-op games here. That's fine. That's usually two-player. Got it. RPG's not really for us. And yeah, all that. Okay, so all that's the same. This is still the same dungeon crawler stuff, chess games, that's all the same. Okay. Then, let's see, where did oh, okay, this is where the Kickstarters go now. Got it. Used game market, got it. And what else we got before I start recording this? Strategy games. Okay. Okay, that might be where we look today then, if we're looking for 10 strategy games. But we've got tile placement, maybe for another day. Worker placement actually might be where we focus. If I can find 10 games in there, then I think that's our spot. Because over here, these are always featured games. Yeah, this is hand management stuff. That's for another day. All right, let me just get. I'll set up. Yeah, I'll set up right here and cut that out. Cut like the last 2 minutes out. All right, this is a good one, and 3, 2, 1, and all right. So first off, I've got Hallertau here. Make sure you're looking at the camera. Try again. 3, 2, 1. All right, so first off, I've got Hallertau here. So this is a awesome worker placement game, actually, by Uwe Rosenberg. 1 to 4 players. It is about $70, so about standard, maybe slightly on the higher side, but for a Euro this size, by Lookout Games, which means right up front, the art isn't going to be amazing. That's just what I found with Lookout Games. Sorry, but as far as the gameplay goes, I have played this at 2 players. I haven't gotten the chance, so this would be something to consider for solo. But what you're doing is you are placing workers onto a common board to take actions to build up your own farm on your own player board, where you are cultivating a field, you are gathering sheep to get meat and then milk and things like that in order to keep expanding your field to gain points. Person with the most points wins. And there's this interesting thing where you've got a cottage actually that's like blocking spaces, or maybe it's a shed that is blocking spaces, and you keep moving it over more. Oh, here it is down here. I knew it was on there. Okay, so you got this cottage thingy, and you are moving it over to open up more and more spaces and more points, but boulders are in the way, so you have to gather these special items like pickaxes or something like that. It's been a couple months in order to remove the boulders and get more spaces there. The 2-player looks like it's going to play exactly the same as the solo. It's just in the solo, you're going to have more cubes blocking the shared actions. So like you'll take an action which blocks off a space, which means if you want to take that same action again, it's going to cost more. Or the solo opponent, is probably going to block a space. So Hallertau is an option. Do I want to go in $70 for that artwork? Not that it's good, it's just not my thing. I don't know. Let's take a look at some others. All right. We've got Ierusalem Anno Domini. I have not played this one yet, and this one, I already told you when we finished the Awakened Realms series, I would love to do a series on historical biblical games. There's only a handful of them, but I would like to do each one and then rank them if at all possible. So not so much the theological side, but more the historical, which this one seems to be going that way. From what I know, so it's 1 to 4 players, as most of these will be Devere games. They've done a few like they did Red Cathedral, things like that, so I think it's just their theme. I don't know. But anyway, what you are doing is you are placing workers in order to ultimately get a seat closer to Jesus at the table during the Final Supper. Meanwhile, you have the religious leaders of the time conspiring against, which seems to be the time, the trigger to end the game is, of course, as they keep putting more and more pressure, and person with the most points wins. As I haven't played it, that's all I know about it to this point, but this definitely competes for the one that might take home. So if you have played it, please let me know more about it. If you would pick this one, let me know. So this is $53.99. So we'll see. Okay, and off recording, remember to be gentler than you usually are because you hate this game. Okay. Kanban EV, Vital Lacerda. This is a 1 to 4 player game. The solo mode, I'm pretty sure, is by David Turchi. I'm not sure if it says it out here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost entirely certain about that. Eagle Griffin game, which means the production quality is going to be through the roof, $121.99. I have already bought this game, played this game, and traded it on, so I'm probably not going to pick it up, but I do want to tell you about it because as much as I hate it, you might like it. The theme is just not for me, okay? The artwork is just not for me. That being said, the artwork is fantastic as far as from a graphic design point. You can just look at, once you learn the symbols, you can read the board as with any Ian O'Toole. He's the artist for this game. You can do that. So the whole theme is you are manufacturing you're in a factory manufacturing EV, like electronic, environmentally clean vehicles, whatever you want to call them. Electric vehicles. You can tell I'm a car dude. Clearly not. Anyway, each one of you has your own worker board. If you are playing multiplayer, of course, you only have to control your own one board. The downside is, in my opinion, this is truly a three-player game, as are a few of Lacerda's, and this is my opinion. They're three-player games that you can also play at four. So to play it two-player, then you need an AI opponent. So when you play two-player, you have like Sandra or something like that. Maybe you always control Sandra, but there's an AI opponent to sort of mimic that third player. When you play solo, then, congratulations, you get to control two AI opponents. Most people, this is his most popular solo game. Okay, so I am in the minority in my utter non-enjoyment of it, which is why I want to feature it for you, because you might love it. It's a strong game. But I do not like controlling two AI at all, which has chased me away from other David Turchi Lacerda designs like Weather Machine. I'm probably never going to try it solo because I don't want to control two AI. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to play it, but if you enjoy the idea of making electronic cars, placing workers in order to accomplish tasks as a typical Lacerda, you've got you take your action, and then you have your optional executive action, and then you've got Sandra, the factory manager, always putting pressure on you. You have to show her reports, and that's when scoring happens. Person with the most the most points wins, and then you've got the other two AI opponents that are just trying to get you fired. It's miserable. I felt like I was at work, and I was so sad and depressed the entire time. But people love it, so there you go. Oh, pretty colors. Pretty colors. This one, okay, so this is one like just based on art. It is really hard to look at that camera. I sure hope I'm doing it right. All right, this is by Danny Garcia from Board and Dice, and it is $52.99. This is a worker placement game. Here's the thing. Art on the box, so lovely. Art on the board, I don't know. It's not as lovely, but from a graphic design standpoint, maybe it works well. I haven't played this one to four players, 60 to 90 minutes, but I keep looking at it every time because it interests me. However, from what I hear, this is point salad galore. So you're just trying to make points for placing workers all over the place and getting points in all sorts of different ways. You have your own player board there. Pretty typical worker placement. But the thing is, the art on the board doesn't catch me, and I'm not into point salad. I like completing objectives, and if points happen, great. So this is not at the top of the list for me. If you've played it, please let me know more about it. Let me know if this is the one game out of these you would walk away with today. Okay, this should be fun. Everdell. Is it relevant anymore now that Far Shore is out, even though Far Shore is crazy expensive? And more or less from what I hear, a similar game. Everdell by James A. Wilson won tons of awards, Starling Games, which means good production quality, and it is 1 to something players. I'm assuming 5. Nope. 1 to 4 players. I've played it at 4 players, and I have played it solo. I used to own it. I have traded it on. So I'm probably not going to get it again, but you might like it. However, keep in mind, you also might want to wait for Far Shore whenever it comes down in price. I'm assuming it has to happen. $90 for it. Good gravy. But I don't know. But anyway, a little bit about this. So this is truly worker placement and tableau building in an adorable little red wall style world of critters with, of course, the giant tree that gets criticized for not being necessary. I don't care. It's thematic. It's beautiful. I'll take it. But anyway, you have a tableau of like a market in the center of this field here, and you are trying to build up your own town by buying little critters and buildings in order to build up your town. You build up your town to score points. The person with the most points wins. Do we see a theme here? We certainly do. But it's not super point salady. You gain points from your tableau. You gain points by completing special objectives. There are 4 special events, and then during each season, the game takes place over 3 seasons. Even though there are 4 seasons, you only play through 3 of them, if I remember that correctly, because you start in one, and then, yes, trust the math. If I'm wrong, put it in the comments, because I usually am. All right, so anyway, you've got objectives up there that you can meet optionally as well in order to get the most points. That's really all there is to Everdell. It's considered a gateway game. I would call it as far as gateway games, I would call it a heavier side of a gateway game. But, yep, Everdell, $65. You pay for that tree. All that being said, though, I actually love Everdell, and if it came between, even though they're totally different style games, I know Wingspan does Tableau, Wingspan and Everdell. Right now, I'm more in the Everdell camp. It goes back and forth, but it is a great game. All right, we've got Floating Market, a game of diced fruit, and this is by Ben Pinchback. It looks like the art must be Matt Riddle. I don't know. This is Eagle Griffin Games. It's not the super deluxeified version. It looks like a nice, simple, but even that board art, I really appreciate that. This is a 2 to 5 player game. Why am I featuring it? Because even though it doesn't have a solo mode, I used to live in Thailand. I lived there for several years, and I would get around by bicycle mostly and go to like the night markets, things like that. When I was in Bangkok, I lived in the rice fields in the northeast. I was closer to Cambodia and Laos. But I did spend some time in Bangkok, and I always wanted to go to the floating market. I never actually did it, but just for pure nostalgia reasons, a worker placement game of a place that was like home for me, and a place where a good number of my closest friends were made. I would just like to try it out, but no solo mode, so it's kind of a cheat, but still. If there's a fan-made solo mode, let me know. If you've tried it out, there's a fan-made solo mode for almost everything. I'll have to look it up on Board Game Geek. See. All right, Floating Market. Oh yeah, $44.99. As usual, a quick break here. So this is sponsored by Cape Fear Games. They are my local game store. I want you to know about them. If you're ever in North Carolina near Wilmington, please stop by. So you can see they've got quite a bit to buy. It's like truly actually a board game store, which is rare to find that. They've got a used game market in the back. They've got over like 300 games, I think, when I checked, in the, what do you call that? You know, where you borrow and play. Yeah. You can just grab them and play. They've got table space. They've got another place next door, the sideboard, that is being transformed sort of as more of a gameplay space. They do demos and things like that. They've got demo tables out, and they're just very, very nice people. So anyway, if you want to support the channel, what you can do is the free way. Give me a like. If you enjoy this content, by all means, please subscribe. If you do not, don't subscribe. It makes no sense. And dislike the video, please. That helps me as well. But yeah, that doesn't make any sense. The other way is if you're interested in any of these games, there's a link in the description below. I usually put it in the pinned comment as well, where you can grab these games online, and you get free shipping within the continental United States and 10% off if you use my code, BoardGamesFor1. I'm also going to put a link, since I'm doing Awaken Realms stuff, that takes you directly to everything Awaken Realms in the store that you can get online, including card sleeves and deluxeified things, stuff like that. And there's police sirens again. That's been like all morning. It's really weird. I don't know what's up out there. It's undoable. It's there forever. All right. And let's get into, I've had mixed feelings about this one. So, Lost Ruins of Arnak. One, art. Obviously, art's important to me. The art is beautiful. I owned the base game, Lost Ruins of Arnak, and this was back when the solo campaign, even though it's a 1 to 4 player game, they made an actual campaign for it. It was like a print and play, so I did that. I printed it, and I didn't play it, but I played the, I heard it was okay, but it was super, super easy. So some expansions have come out since. Expedition Leaders over there, and I believe this is the newest, the Missing Expedition, which ends up adding new leaders, temples to explore, new items, so still more or less the same game, but it does add a 6-chapter, fully replayable campaign as well. So that could be kind of cool. You get to unlock new content. That's always a nice part of a campaign. So here's why I don't have Lost Ruins of Arnak anymore, though. So I played it. I played it with my foster son several times, 2-player, and I played it solo probably close to 10 times. And I love the fact that it's partially a deck builder where you are trying to clean out your deck, thin it out so you just keep the best cards, but you're also trying to, collect new cards to add in there. It's worker placement. You only start out with 2 workers, and you can gain a 3rd from what I remember, where you place them on different ruins to either fight monsters or what else do you do there? Oh, you collect items, resources, things like that. And then you've got this knowledge track on one side of the board where you are trying to grow in knowledge. And what I found with every play is if I just focused on the knowledge track, I could pretty much dominate every game. If I was going to win, that was like the route to do it. I don't believe it's so much that way if you use the different expedition leaders, and I have not heard about this one yet as it's very new. So I did trade Lost Ruins of Arnak on. I am tempted to grab it again for the expansions, but I'm just not sure. So it's $27.99 for the expansion, and the base game, I remembered it being good, $55 for the base game, which again, I've played it a lot, so I know there's a lot of competition between that. People were going crazy comparing Dune Imperium with Lost Ruins of Arnak. I played both of them. To me, they're different games other than, they both have like hand management and worker placement, but isn't that like almost all games? Anyway, I preferred Lost Ruins of Arnak. That's just a thematic preference. Dune Imperium was way more tense if you like confrontation, even though if you do play multiplayer or if you're playing solo, the solo opponent does get in your way. It's not as head-to-head confrontational as Dune Imperium. So I think that's the difference. If you're into confrontation, Dune Imperium. If you're into more of a placing your workers, building your hand kind of thing, then that's probably Lost Ruins of Arnak. Next game, oh my goodness. This one, I got to meet the designer and publisher, Oros. This is by Brant Brinkerhoff of AESC Games. Let me get in camera. One to 4 players, and it is $81.99. This is like an island building game where you have, okay, so you're building up an island, and depending where you place your workers, the islands actually shift, and you can push them together in order to make the land go up. And it is actually 3-dimensional. You do actually raise the ground up as you're forming these islands. I believe there's volcanic activity as well. Yes, there is volcanic activity. That's what I thought. Volcanoes come into play, and they erupt, create the land, mountains come up. Then you can place these temples based on the height of the mountain, and you get points based on how high your temple is. If you're playing multiplayer, you can like place yours on a lower level, and someone else can place their temple on the higher level of that mountain. So there's some getting in each other's way there. And also kind of similar to Lost Ruins of Arnak, you're also building up a knowledge track, which we're going to see that in Origins as well. That seems to be a good thing in worker placement, is to have that knowledge track. That's all that I remember about this. I did want to try the solo mode. I didn't get to see a demo of the solo mode for Oros, so this is a strong possibility. Let me know if this is the one that you would try out. Oros. And do you feel that? I keep feeling like a, yeah, that is weird. Something's off. Okay. Just finish up. All right. Game I thought I would love and I got rid of because it's a Portal game and their rule books are from the devil. Pret Porter, Ignacy Trzewiczek. It's 3rd edition, and art is awesome. I love the art. I love the theme. You're building up a fashion company. I thought since I love Rococo, I'll probably love this. It really is beautiful. It is it says 2 to 4 players. So why is it solo? Because there are several fan-made solo modes. actually on BGG. So I printed one of them out. I will link link to that in the description so you can see the one that I used. And the my issue wasn't with the gameplay. What you're doing is you're placing workers in order to collect supplies, to create garments, to put on models, to create a fashion show. So it works in like seasons. There are several seasons, and each one of those seasons culminates in you putting on a fashion show of your choice. And there's several different types of shows you can put on, and whoever gets the most points at the end of the game wins. You get your points during the fashion show phase, all the way to the end of the game. You're also, since you're not playing as a person, you're playing as like managing the company, right? So you're managing a fashion company in order to develop all this. So you're collecting and spending money like no one's business. Here's what I didn't like about it. The graphic design on the board was great, but there were a couple things that you had to memorize where if they had just put the symbol on the board, I wouldn't have to keep referencing the rule book. It was like a very simple fix in the time track. They've got a track right here that tells you what to do at each stage of the game, and they left out just a couple very important repetitive steps that if they put that there, I wouldn't have had to memorize it because I don't have the brain. Look at me. I don't have the brain for that, okay? It's not there. It's all air. So you got to help me out. The other thing is the rule book it was a pleasant read. You know, it's written in paragraph form, beginning to end. But it wasn't very conducive to learning, much like reading Robinson Crusoe. You know, it's a torturous experience. So I didn't appreciate that. Some people have not had that issue. If you've had issues with Portal Games instruction books, this will be the same. If not, you're going to love it. It's a beautiful game, but I don't think I will grab it again. It's $57.99. Some of my really good friends, though, they have it, and they love it. So you should know about it, too. It is again. Let's just wrap this up. All right. We've got Origins, First Builders by Adam Kwapinski, solo mode by David Turchi. That scares the life out of me. He's such a good designer. He really is. It's just after Kanban EV and Escape Plan. I've been burned. I've been burned hard. All right, $62.99. This is 1 to 4 players. I'm just going to assume that seems to be the thing. So until I find otherwise, yeah, there we go. 1 to 4 players. All right, so I got to play this, but I played it on Tabletopia probably. Yeah, not Board Game Arena. I played it on Tabletopia where you manage everything. Not completely the same, and I played it 2-player, so I'm a bit curious about trying this solo. What this is, so this is a worker placement game. Your workers are dice, and you are building like an alien civilization of sorts in all of its different parts. So you start out with a certain number of workers that you can place along the top here to get, there's my nose, you're welcome, to gain resources matching those dice. When you get those resources, then you have options on what you can do. You are competing to build up your military track, which you're actually like racing around this wheel, and there's a lot of tension because there's like checkpoints that you have to cross. So you have to go forward so many spaces within one turn, or maybe it's the round, before you get reset back. So you have to like cross the threshold to stay there. So it really is like a military track. Like you are actually fighting. It's like a rubber band's always pulling you back. Really annoying, but I loved it in the right ways. There we go. And then you got the Star Trek over here where you're trying to go up and advance in like stellar, celestial technology. And these are optional. You can focus on one more than the other. And then you've got your actual town buildings and things and locations that you are placing into your own like tableau. So I guess it's tile placement, tableau, worker placement over here. If we don't know what any of those mean, it's fine. I just throw them around like I know what I'm talking about. Okay. So you got that there, and that's how you do it. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game from their civilization wins the game. Oh my goodness, Origins. And that takes us to 10 o'clock. Better. Something is up. Let me check this out. What? is that? Is that from here? Hello? I hear you in... Hello?